Ukraine remains a war zone. Kiev and Moscow are talking peace now. There are promises to cut back military activity, but one man does not believe that Russia can be trusted just yet. His name is Petro Poroshenko. He served as Ukraine's president from 2014 to 2019. He led Ukraine through the first phase of the war with Russia, you could say, when Russia occupied Crimea. 3 years after leaving office, Poroshenko has taken on a different role, the role of a soldier. Since the invasion began, he's been out on the streets of Kiev, he says, dressed in military fatigues and equipped with a weapon. We spoke to him earlier today, and it wasn't like any other interview we've had. Mr. Poroshenko was not in a studio like us. He was on duty, out on the streets of Kiev. Minutes after we started our conversation, bullets were fired. Here's an excerpt from that conversation. Mr. Petro Poroshenko, welcome to Beyond, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You've been on the front line since the invasion began. How are you doing? Are you safe?
Me, together with the whole Ukrainian people, together with the whole official, are soldiers now. And we do our best to stop Russian aggression, to throw him out from Ukrainian soil, and to defend and protect our people. Now you hear, I don't know if you hear that or not, you hear the Russian artillery fire.
Tell us about where you're standing at the moment. You say the site has become a symbol for Ukraine. Tell us more about it, and what is it like living through a war?
This is the very famous, biggest in Kiev trading center, Retroville, and the civilian housing district, which named Vinograd. You know, if you were here. Just less than 10 kilometers from here, we have a Russian tank. And we have there the fighting because our troops, including the troops of our battalion, freeing Irpin from the Russian occupants. They completely erased. If you were in Kiev, you know what I'm talking about. Erased Vorzel, erased Gostomel, erased Bucha, erased Irpin. That was the symbol, the Kiev suburb, the symbol of the new building, the great world-famous architecture, the residential area, which is now completely destroyed. And nobody can explain why they are here. What they are looking for in Ukraine. But we protecting our land, we protecting our people, we protecting our future, and we thank the world for the solidarity with us. And that's why we definitely win.
As president, you led Ukraine through the first phase of the war with Russia, you could say. Did you ever think that a full-fledged invasion of Ukraine was possible?
When I was elected as a president, Crimea was already occupied. Donbass was already occupied, and believe me, this was not a conflict between Russia and Ukraine. That was a full war, and the volume of the operation, the size of the operation, was very big. But I am proud that we stopped Russian troops there. We released 2/3 of the occupied Donbass, and we protect country by the very different means. From the army means to the diplomatic means. Now I am proud that since year 2014 we create the new country. We provide the army reform. We create a new army together with the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian volunteers. We create the new municipality structure because of the decentralization. And that's why we surprise the world. Because Putin promised that within 36 hours, he captured Kiev. And the Russian flag would be above the governmental building of Ukraine. Tomorrow would be 5 disastrous weeks of war. 5 weeks, Ukrainian armed forces and Ukrainian people fighting against, as they said, second biggest army in the world. And we surprised the world. We demonstrate that the Ukrainian army, Ukrainian armed forces, demonstrate a unique unity. All the countries against Putin, all the country against a Russian fascist who come here to kill Ukraine. You know why? Because this is not possible a compromise, because They want to have us dead. They want to erase Ukraine from the world map. And we simply want to live. And it's definitely impossible to find out the field for the compromise. But proud for the last 8 years, and I'm proud for my country. I'm proud for my presidents, and I'm proud that army, Ukrainian cultural sphere, Ukrainian religious sphere is help us to unite the nation. And it's louder and louder. So we are really in a hot war zone, in a hot war time.
Mr. Poroshenko, are you safe?
Nobody is safe in Kiev, believe me. But here is definitely, you see what's going on here, and this is definitely not safe. But we live with this condition for already 35 days.
Indeed, we appreciate your courage, sir. To do this interview in such a difficult condition is no mean feat, and we respect you for that. In the past, you've called Russia's President Vladimir Putin a quote-unquote crazy maniac. What message would you like to send him today?
I don't change my mind. And no normal person is impossible to explain what is the reason why he's doing that. He is inadequate. He is unpredictable. He is crazy. Killer, which should be behind the bars of International Criminal Court.
What do you make of the actions of the West so far? Do you believe their reluctance to act against Russian energy supplies has extended this war in Ukraine?
Look, first of all, I also think that the world is surprised at Putin, because Putin do not expect the world would be such united. Definitely yes. But we need from the world, from the global solidarity, several things. We need the Land-Lease Act to supply Ukraine everything from nutrition to ammunition. We need a closed sky with the Russian against Russian plane with anti-aircraft missiles and jet fighters. We need a second front, and this is exactly about sanction and embargo. And with this situation, I want to kindly ask of our Indian partners. We definitely insist that we should stop paying to Russia money for financing war in Ukraine. Because every single $1 billion and Russia received for their oil and for their gas, $1 billion a day. $1 billion, this means more than 300 Russian tanks go to Ukraine for one day. Means more than 200 Iskander ballistic tactical missiles per one day. And with this situation, definitely we very much welcome decision of the United States to stop buying Russian oil and gas, decision of the United Kingdom, the plan for the European Union, including, by the way, the Germany, to significantly decrease the gas consumption and stop oil consumption. And my request to India, please, I know that Russia used you in propaganda against sanctions when telling that India buying the Russian oil extremely cheap. They say that it is buying about for $25 a barrel. And you buy in a small portion, it's about for 1 or 2 days of your consumption. Please, stop. This is the victims of Ukraine asking your government, please stop buying Russian oil.
Very strong words, sir, and it's become a bit of a trend. Everyone in the world seems to have advice for India. You say India is buying oil from Russia, but what will you say to Europe, which has bought billions of dollars worth of gas from Russia since the beginning of this invasion? Is that not a betrayal?
My request to the European Union member states is exactly the same. That was a request of me, fifth president of Ukraine, to my friends, which is a leader of the head of state and the head of the government in European Union. And definitely we need to have a full embargo on Russian oil and gas, no matter it is European Union or India or any other nation in the world, including China. But my request, please, now I request to India, and yesterday it was exactly my request to the European Union member state.
What message would you like to send to India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi then?
Dear Prime Minister, if you will have an opportunity and demonstrate the solidarity with Ukraine, please stop buying Russian oil and please be the guest of Ukrainian now. Could you make a visit in Kiev? And your presence here in Kiev would have a great symbolic importance. Think about that. This is the decisive step of decisive person, and this is demonstrate your, dear Prime Minister, leadership for Ukraine. And point number two, this is the humanitarian assistance. We have a disastrous humanitarian crisis. And if, as I said, you can supply the world-famous Indian medicine for the suffering Ukrainian victims of the Russian aggression, that would be also very important, because friend in need is a friend indeed, my dear partners.
Well said, Mr. Poroshenko. Thank you very much for joining us here on WION.